Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous dance baby, and welcome to another episode of More Than Dance. Today, we are going to talk about one of our no words at the studio, and it's the word try. And the word try is a funny word because it sounds really great. Like, I'm going to try and do that. And it sounds like reassuring and it sounds like it's gonna happen. And I'm here to tell you today that one of the most powerful things you can do is take the word try out of your vocabulary and replace it with nothing. I'm going to try and do that today. No, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to try and come to dance today. No, I am going to come to dance today. And the reason is because when we say the word try, we are already letting ourselves off the hook if we don't do it. When we choose other words, we create a different standard for ourselves to live up to. It allows you to create a different relationship with the word effort. The word try can always give you an out. So today we are going to unveil the reason why we use the word try, and we are going to learn how to replace it, or at least work on replacing it with something else. So let's get into all the ways that the word try is a soft no. Try is often a way to protect ourselves to avoid failure. It's a way that we can set ourselves up for, okay, well, if we don't do it, then I never really set out to do it anyway. So it's kind of like when I say to myself, like, I'm going to try and get to my room this weekend. And when I say get to my room, if you know me, you know that I'm always organizing and cleaning my room and like making it spick and span because I just like it when it's organized that way. So technically, when I say I'm going to try, I already know in my head I'm probably not going to be doing it. I'm not going to be able to make time for it. However, if I say, I am going to get to my room this weekend. And then after, if I say this, I'm going to get to my room this weekend on Sunday at 2:00, then I went even deeper and I made sure that I was making the effort to make it happen as opposed to trying to make it happen. Saying the word try can often sound positive. It can be like, I'll try and do that. And there's so much work that gets to be done within the word try. So let's talk about fear. We talked about fear before. Well, when we set ourselves up for failure, that could be one of the reasons why we say the word try. It's almost like, I'm going to try and do that. And deep down, we know we're not going to get to it. So therefore, we don't want to commit to saying that we're going to do it because then we know we're not going to do it. So then we're going to feel bad about ourselves because we didn't do it anyway. And then we can say, oh, well, I said I was going to try and I didn't. So basically, it evens out. Or maybe we're fearful of success and we're scared that our success might stretch us. So instead of saying, I'm going to do this, we say, I'm going to try and do this. Already, even just the way I'm like reenacting the sentence, it already is less of a confident statement. It's wishy-washy. I don't like that. I don't like that because it lacks clarity. It lacks conviction. It lacks so much. And it's actually funny because if you were you know how sometimes we like separate ourselves and like I tell you to like create like an entity of yourself that you're talking to. Well, if we were going to talk to ourselves like, oh, I'm going to try and do that. The person on this end, the you on this end, or even if you're saying it to someone else, they know what's up. You haven't fooled them. Maybe you have fooled yourself, but you haven't fooled them. Because when someone tells me they're going to try, I say, okay, it's a soft no. I already know that they're not. So, oh, I'm going to try and do that. No, you're not. It actually shows a lack of communication and people skills, and it shows potentially a habit of people pleasing when you say the word try. And the reason why I'm saying that is because how much more assertive and confident, all my students are always coming to me to gain confidence through dance on the dance floor. And this is where some of that confidence can come in. And it's saying, you know what, as much as I really want to do that next week, I'm not going to have time for it. If I am able to find time for it, I'll do it. How much more clear is that to the person that is being spoken to, or even if it's you speaking to you, like future you, how much more clear is that for yourself? And it's showing awareness, which we love, and it's showing reflection because it's showing that you understand what your week is like. It's showing that you understand that you know the exact obstacle that would get in the way. So when I'm talking about cleaning my room, I'm going to get to that on Sunday as long as it's a rainy day. Because now in my head, it's like, okay, well, if it rains, you're going to do it. And if it's sunny, I'm going to be at the beach. And I get to say that, and I get to be exact like that, as opposed to, I'm going to try and do that. The repetitiveness of saying, I'm going to try and do that, I'm going to try and do that, actually teaches you that it's okay to never do that. It's teaching you that as long as you say try, you're excused. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. So right now, I'd love for you to just take a little minute and just think, where are you saying try where you could actually be saying I will or I won't? Where are you protecting an identity you have outgrown? The word try sometimes comes up when we're talking about doing something next time. And it's like this idea of chance. So if you're at the dance studio and you receive a correction, the correction could be, okay, next time you do this, don't forget to look at me. Sometimes I'll do that to my students. I'll have them practice eye contact by looking at me, and I'll stand in front of them. And they might say, okay, I'll try. Why? Why not just do it? Why try? And I think it's because a couple of things. So one, it could be because the skill of looking, and you can insert any skill with this, right? The skill of looking while you're memorizing is and can be difficult. And I think when you say, I'll try, you're saying, I hope it works out that I do. I can think of this in terms of like when I was trying a new move, a move that I hadn't mastered yet in gymnastics. Every time was a try. Like, I'm going to try my back walkover on beam. I'm going to try my back handspring on beam, a skill that I could do on the floor. And the funny thing is it kept feeling like a try because I was treating it like a try. Really, though, I was doing it. It just, maybe I didn't land it. Or maybe I fell off and, scraped myself and gotten a raspberry. And that's what happens when we do something to our full potential. We are doing it full out. And it's possible that when I framed it in the sense of, I'll try and do it, because I was giving myself leeway, I was making that leeway happen and leading myself to a fall or not sticking it. So it actually makes me think of this theory that I've been observing. It's a theory that I have, and I've been kind of like calculating it a little bit behind the scenes as I observe my students. And one thing that happens is they're doing a bunch of moves. They're doing the moves. They're doing the choreography. And because they have this idea of, I'm trying to do it, they show up like this. They show up as a question mark. And it's because they think they're trying versus knowing that they're doing, or even knowing that they're doing with the potential of not sticking. And we are all guilty of, actually, I caught myself saying try the other day, and I was like, oh, Chrissy, we don't say the word try. We say the word do. We do that. We do. And when I observe this body alignment shrinkage, I know. And I know because I see. And I know because I've fact-checked this with my students who do this. I know that they're shrinking their movement. And I know that it's coming harder for them. It is harder to be small when you're meant to be big. It is harder to shrink your movements when your movements are meant to be large. It is harder to dance less out than full out. It's harder to memorize it. It's harder to connect with the audience. And what happens is we think and we think and we overthink and overthink. We analyze, we self-criticize, and we look into this habit of getting into our head. We get into our head and we get into our head. And I know because I've asked, what does that mean? And it means we're stuck. Maybe we're stuck because we don't believe in ourselves. And maybe that stuck is because we believe that we're only trying, which means we're only imitating, which means we aren't being. So if we go back to the episode on Be, Do, Have, where we talk about being that entity and watch how you be that girl. Be that person that's confident and you're going to be confident. Be that person that is abundant and watch the abundance come to you. Be that person that dances full out and watch how full out and easily dance comes. And when I see this, I ask the question, like, how'd that go for you? How was that? And they're usually like, it's okay. And then that moment where the crossover changes and they're actually dancing full out, they're not trying anymore, they're doing. I ask them, hey, that looked like it was easier for you, was it? And they say, yeah, it actually was. And their face says, I'm surprised. Their face says, you mean all along, if I had fully committed to this, I could have been dancing and doing faster, other than thinking that I was trying and trying by doing. We get to do, we get to be, and we get to succeed. And when it's something that we get into the habit of trying, we're teaching ourselves over and over again, next one. Oh, you'll get it. You'll get it on the next one. Don't worry about that. That's okay. That's okay. You tried. Do we want to go into any part of our life with that energy? I know I don't. I think about like my most recent surgery. Can you imagine if my surgeon was like, I'll try. Like, no, don't operate on my knee. Please do. Please always do. No one comes to the dance studio and says, I want to try dance. They might be saying that out loud, but what I know that they mean is they want to excel with dance. They want to dance. They don't want to try it. They want to do it, and they're giving themselves an easy way out in the case that they don't commit. In the case that they don't keep up their consistency, they gave themselves an out. The out says to them, don't worry, you're just trying this. So if it's not as good as you want it to be, don't worry, you're only trying. A full send, a full commit. Think about those. Like I think about when I was powerlifting and I would do a heavy lift. I remember when I squatted like 204 pounds. I was trying it. Yeah, like I was attempting the lift. But that's not the energy I went into it with. I went into the lift as I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit this. And I went in with that effort versus I'm going to try. No, I have 200 pounds on the back of my back. Trying would be not doing it. So let's talk about what the word do provides for you. Well, first, it changes your posture. So go ahead and try and say, go ahead and say, I'm going to try to go to dance class. And now say, I'm going to go to dance class. Which one sounded better? The latter, I know. Replacing try with the word do changes your posture. It changes the intention. It changes what the person listening to you thinks. Because when I hear someone say, I'm going to do that, I'm like, bravo. I'm like, yay, good for you. Let's see it. And then afterwards, if they don't stick it, that's when we say, it's all right, do it again. Go again. You got it. Give it another whirl. Saying the word do gives you energetic clarity. It's like a verbal contract with yourself. I'm going to do this. Ooh, are you? That's nice. That's cool. I'm proud of you. Like when I tell myself I'm going to go and do something, I'm like, wow, you said it out loud. I must believe you now. Saying the word do doesn't mean perfection. It means commitment. It's the understanding that I am committed to this happening. And then you get to get really clear on what you really want. Because if you're continually saying try, do you even want it? And then you get to go deeper and learn. Okay, well, why? I thought I really wanted that. Why don't I? And you get an opportunity to ask questions, to find out more about yourself. Because one thing about us is we're evolving always. So what we might really, really want 1 month, we could want something different, similar, different, or completely different the next month or the next year. We're always changing because we're always evolving. We're always thinking. And hopefully, we're always reflecting. When you practice saying the word do, over the word try, you're allowing yourself to embody intention. And it's going to teach you in a kind of backwards way, really what you intend on doing. So if you're practicing saying, I'm going to do this, you're always listening to yourself. And therefore, you're teaching yourself to believe that it can happen. Sometimes we talk about the idea of a micro change or a micro goal. I hope to soon have a podcast episode on this little micro topic. And saying do in place of the word try is a micro achievement. It's a micro act of leadership because you're not just dancing, you're declaring your level of integrity with yourself. And when you get to do this, you get to have that transformation that you're wishing and wanting and manifesting. So I know it's silly to just think about removing that word from your vocabulary because you're going to find, and I hope that after you listen to this, you're going to find how often you say the word try. And you're soon going to understand that it isn't just a word. It's not just semantics. It becomes a part of your identity. So, do you want the identity that has you trying and maybe doing? Or do you want the identity of the person that is doing and getting it done and succeeding? So, as you're going about this week, I want you to take note, a serious note, not try to take note. Take serious note of the times that you're saying try. And I will too, because I do catch myself saying it. Find out where you're saying it and then ask the question, why? Why am I saying try here versus do? And once you find those moments, I want you to find more clarity. Where can you find clarity with the reasoning behind your word choice? Why is it not an automatic, I'm going to do that? Why is it try? If you were to remove the word try from your vocabulary, what would you then get to own? Now, we aren't striving for perfection here. And this also doesn't have to be an overnight achievement. And when you think about what you want to become, I encourage you to become it versus trying to become it. Find the power behind the word do and see how your life shifts. See what becomes possible. See how those inner conversations with yourself end up being more confident, more believable, more powerful, full of clarity, because you're going to unlock a new level once you start doing this. And when you do, I want to hear about it. So I hope this was so helpful for you. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And it would mean the world to me if you could give this podcast a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the dance floor.